All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tatum Show. Happy Friday. This stuff just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier. Folks are losing their minds over Karmelo Anthony's verdict. You got people online telling people how to lie and be jurors, racism, you name it, they doing it. We're going to talk a little bit about Spencer Pratt and his upcoming endeavor. The View loses their mind over the UFC fight, which is typical. A bunch of women talking about fighting, especially these women. That don't go together, all right? Lemonade stand robbery. We know who the usual suspects are. And before we talk about any of this, I need to address this racist video from Austin Metcalf's dad. Welcome to the Tatum Show.
I want everybody in this room to have that same spirit, that same identity carried in your life.
Make sure that you go through life and find your purpose.
And we don't do this just to get a pat on the back. We do it because we came here to win.
And it starts with you understanding that God has a purpose for you.
This is the time to be more bold than ever before.
We're all Americans at the end of the day, and we should love one another. We should be focused on what's right for our country. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen and ladies? Welcome back. I want to give a big thank you to all the members. I really appreciate you guys joining and supporting. If you want to be a member and you see what we got to offer, just click the join button and it's a little layout of the tiers of membership. I love all of you guys the same, and I appreciate you guys blessing me or blessing the channel and blessing all of us because we all are contributors to this. So I thank you for that. I want to give a special shout out to an event that I'm going to do on Father's Day. So if you love good food, this restaurant has a Michelin star chef. They carry Verdict Bourbon. We're going to have a special Verdict Bourbon Brown Sugar Old Fashioned that we're going to have and partake in on Father's Day. We also have a ribeye, which is my favorite. It's going to be a cowboy ribeye and a dessert that's bourbon inspired. Meet me at Belmont in North Scottsdale. Go to Open Table to get your reservation. We'll put the link in the description section, but it's going to be a limited amount of space. So if you want to join me for Father's Day, have some good bourbon, be entertained. It's going to be a great time here. One of the best restaurants in Scottsdale by far. I want to see you guys there. Link in the description section. All right, let's get into Austin Metcalf's dad. Now, we played a video, and I think we did it on a live stream yesterday. We posted a recap video, and obviously it went viral. But this is a part of the video that wasn't in our original video. People are losing their socks and their salvation at the same time over this video. So I want to watch it and give you guys my commentary and my thoughts behind what Austin Metcalf dad said. This looks like the video is only 11 seconds. I think it was a little more to that, but let me play this video and I'm gonna give my commentary. Roll the clip.
Y'all can let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about watermelon felon? How's that one strike you?
I think it's best that we cover a little bit more than that little part, but this is the part that's going viral. I don't know if you guys can put together a little bit of context on both ends, but it looks like he had a rant that he did, obviously sitting in his living room, where he spoke about a lot of different things and his frustration about what's going on. Let me give you the context and my thoughts on that, and then I'm going to talk about the watermelon felon thing. First and foremost, there was nothing that I thought that he said in all of his speech, aside from the watermelon felon thing, that I thought had anything that was wrong in it. Everything that he said in that video, it equals my frustration with what has gone on in this case, how they have treated his son, and the foolishness that's coming from a lot of people in the black community. It is absolutely asinine. And we're going to show you some clips that prove that here in a minute, but I agree with him. I agree with the frustration. And I always perceptualize what I say on both sides. If a young white kid was murdered, a young black kid was murdered by a white kid, and the white community was coming out and saying that's what he get, playing that the black kid is actually the suspect and their kid who did a senseless murder is a victim, them going out and saying, let's stand up for white folks everywhere. Let's go and lie to the jury pool so we can get more white people on the jurors so we can defend our white brothers and sisters, running around the streets talking about white power and saying black people are the evil of the world and all these other things and showing pictures of peeing on the grave of this black kid. and sharing them online with no care in the world. If white folks were doing the same thing we see black people doing, and a black dad got on here and went ham, nobody would have a problem with it. It's only because Austin Metcalf's dad is white that people have a problem with the things that he's saying, being critical of the black community. So let's get to the watermelon felon thing. In the video, and I'm gonna say it right off the bat, I don't like that he said it. I don't think he should have said it. I don't think it helps his cause by saying it. But right off the bat in the clip, he said, "I'm gonna say something to get y'all riled up." And the reason why this is not as crazy and offensive as it would be in other circumstances is because the way that people are talking about his dead son is absolutely insanity. They are mocking his son, saying he was a bully and that he deserved to get stabbed in the heart and killed at a track meet. And for him to go out and say, well, I'm gonna make y'all really mad. I'm just gonna say something to make you mad. I see where he's coming from with that. Here's a clip with a little bit of context on it so you can see it, and then I'll get back to finish my commentary on the watermelon felon thing, which I think that he shouldn't have said. But roll the clip.
After it happened, how many lies did you sit and type up on your keyboard, you big keyboard warrior? You a big tough man. You still live in Baton Rouge? Remember you said you'd come to Frisco, buddy? You were supposed to find me. I told you we could sit down and talk. That's all you do. Talk, Mr. Squeaky Clean. You're the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture. You people hang your hat on the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Let me make one up. Y'all can let me make something racist up so y'all can go viral. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about watermelon felon? How's that one strike you? I hope he enjoyed his first night in that cell last night, because he's going to have many nights to think about what the fuck he did. I forgave him so I don't carry the hate and the anger. So I don't get ate up like cancer and kills you from the inside. It's like me drinking poison and hoping it kills you. It doesn't work that way. You've got to let that stuff go or it will kill you. It will eat you up inside. So when people ask me, how can you forgive him? If I didn't, I would have wound up killing him and going to prison myself. That's how stupid people, when you get irrational, because you can't make a good decision if you're emotional. Emotion and intellect do not mix. If you're emotional, you can't come up with a logical solution.
Which is pretty much what he's doing there, is being emotional. But I get where he's coming from. If somebody killed my son, I would be very upset with them. This was senseless. This is a track meet. This violence should not be happening at a track meet. If somebody wants you to get out their tent, bro, you throw the hands or you get out the tent. You know what I'm saying? But to stab somebody and kill them because you too weak to fight, and you look, man, if somebody come over and I'm in the wrong, I got to make a decision. We gonna throw the hands, and whatever happens, I'm okay with, or I'm gonna walk away because I'm not gonna win this fight. Ain't no way in the world I'm gonna be in a reserved parking spot, and three dudes, allegedly, if I feel that this is the case, three dudes come up to me like, "What's up, bro? You need to get up out the spot, or we gonna throw the hands." And I know I can't whoop these dudes. I gotta make a decision. I'm wrong, so I can just move and let it go. Unless I want to fight somebody over me being wrong. But I'm not gonna pull a gun and start shooting people because I think it's self-defense. Now, the rational thing to do is say, look, man, I'm wrong. Process the fact that if I get into a fight, I'm already wrong because it technically is their spot. I shouldn't even be here. But then I hit one of them and they fall and bump their head and be in a coma. I might end up going to jail or something bad happening. So I need to let it go. It's not that serious. I feel a little disrespected. I'll find a way to get back at them without it being violent or get me in trouble. I'll go talk to their coach and tell their coach that they did this and that or whatever. I post on social media. I do stuff of that nature. I'm not going to get into a violent confrontation because look at what happens. Now a lot of your life is gone. So I'll finish it with this. I don't like that dad said it. I don't like that dad is being emotional about it because I think that gives fodder and flame to an already polarizing situation. But I do understand his frustration because his son was wronged. Karmelo Anthony probably should have spent the rest of his life in prison because he took another life from somebody else. But the jury had compassion enough to only reduce it down to 32 years, 35 years. They could have gave him 99, life. But the frustration that Mr. Metcalf feels, I'm going to give you an example of why he may feel this way. These are prominent people on podcasts that are specific and directed at the black community, either guest of a show or their own show. Now, if you cannot be frustrated or understand how stupid this sounds just watching this, then switch the people and look at it through that lens. Just imagine if white people were saying the same thing that these black folks saying, would you find this to be crazy? Roll the clip.
If they say, can you be fair? Don't say, no, I'm not finna put a black man in jail. Don't say that, okay? Because if that's what you're gonna say, you could have stayed home. You have to go and be like, no, I will hear the evidence. I can be fair. Don't say, I hate white people and I don't care what he did. Don't do that. That's what people were doing in this case. Okay, and then everybody's like in an uproar because there's no black people on the jury when damn near half of the black people who could have been on the jury canceled themselves out.
Yeah.
Don't
Hold
do
on,
that. Okay.
So pretty much what you're saying, half of the black people that could have been on the jury were racist, and they had no business being on the jury because they couldn't be impartial. And then this woman is saying, which is a crime, to encourage people to lie in the jury pool. Like, I just don't understand. I have never in my life seen a white people on a podcast saying, we need to get on these jurors, we need to get in this juror. And no, don't tell them that you can't be impartial. Don't tell them you really hate black people. I don't think it's right if white people were doing that. If you hate black people, you shouldn't be on a jury. You shouldn't be a juror. You're not impartial. You're an ignorant fool. And you're going to get on there and lie to get somebody in jail or get somebody off that's a criminal? Let them finish.
So don't do that. See, somebody in the comments talking about that's what got me put out. Don't do that. When you go up there, say, no, I have never heard about this case. I can be fair. Say that, okay? And then mean it. Believe it a little bit. Don't tell them you can't be impartial. You could have stayed home.
Because then you're going to be Issa Rae, they say. You're going to be, I'm rooting for everybody black.
Yeah.
I would have to remember that because I would be in there like, I would almost be too eager. Oh, God. I would probably be too eager just to go flip mode. Do you? Yep, I do believe whatever you do.
They're going to kick you out.
You just said, I don't know who that person was that said that the other day. What I believe today, this is a video of you saying, that wasn't me. I didn't say those things. I believe in the rule of law. I believe.
Ma'am, all we asked was what was your first name?
Law and order. My first name is Law and Order.
Be like, get her out of here.
My first name is Sustained.
Y'all be regular.
Overruled.
Just be regular.
Oh God, I would be in there. They'd be like, just get her out of here because something might be wrong with her.
Y'all.
Something. Just get. No. My first name is Guilty.
Listen. Everybody else that be called, they be at the very least acting like they can be fair.
Yeah.
So don't go in there and act like all of a sudden you have to be the most honest person you've ever been. Listen, don't tell them I said that, but I'm just saying. People get on these juries and be
My sister's name
racist.
Is I'm not a lawyer. So I think I am the lawyer.
No.
Between Law and Order and CSI, I grew up on those shows. And now my sister, let me tell you something. I could do your job, to be honest with you.
Well, don't go. Stay home. Please, you're ruining the point. Y'all are ruining the points.
All right, I'm done listening
people-
to these ignorant folk. Now, two things. This makes black people look bad. If you are not around black people, I got more. Just hold on. if you're not around black people on a consistent basis and you're exposed to decent black folk, how does this not make black people in general? You flipping on the channel, you just going through and you're looking at black podcasts just to hear what black people are thinking about this, and you're seeing them sound stupid. Like, I would tell people, be an impartial person. Don't act like just be a good person. Don't get on a jury if you biased. There are certain things that I'll never be a juror because I was a former police officer, and they'll strike me right away because they consider that to be biased because I've been in law enforcement. But if I were to go on a jury thing and I'm like, look, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not finna mess nobody's life up because I'm selfish. Look, I can't do this, man. I'm biased against this, or I don't like this, or whatever the case may be. I'm gonna be very honest because this is somebody's life we talking about. But dishonest people to the core think that it makes sense as a grown woman to get on there and tell people to lie to the jury so you can get black people off of stuff until they kill your kid. And then now you gonna know what it feel like. Here's another one. This dumb, ignorant fool, listen to him.
But those of you who do get called to jury service, I think you should go. And you never know. You may be trying to help out a brother or sister. And when you go, when they ask you this question, hey, could you be fair? Don't say, no, I ain't being fair. Like, don't say no stupid crap like that. Please don't. Like, say yes, I can be fair. I can listen to the evidence. Because most of us can listen to evidence and be fair, okay? And let's get on these juries. Because if we can get on these juries, then if one black person get on a jury, it decreases our chances for conviction. Do you know that? It's all kind of studies about that. About the more black jurors on a jury, the more that we have a chance of being acquitted. Not because black people just want to let go criminality. No, all of us do not agree with criminality. If you're a black person in a black neighborhood committing crimes and being horrible, we want you out of there. We don't want you in the black community. Hell no.
Time out. I don't think these people are thinking when they talk. You are a horrible person if you think like this. We need to get on, like, you're a problem with America. We need to get on the jurors, so if you want to help a brother out or something. Normally, when more of us on the jury, we get convicted less. You know why we get convicted less? Because y'all on here lying. Y'all on here taking the side of black people. That's why they get convicted. Not because they somehow innocent, and then even saying that. Are you saying that white people cannot be impartial? You're doing two conflicting things. You're saying black people need to lie to get on the jury so we can help other black people, because white people are incapable of being normal people and being fair. So you're saying stupid stuff on you, making black people look bad, then you're being racist because you act like, because if you're not black, you can't be fair. What evidence do you have that white people wake up every day looking to put a young black man in prison? Where's the evidence of that? Let him finish and then we moving on.
But if we see a situation like Karmelo Anthony, right? And even when I was talking to my cousin today, some of these white folks say, well, yeah, he said, touch me and see what happens. Well, you don't have a black person on the jury. They run with idiot thoughts like that, right? All Karmelo said is, if you physically touch me, I will defend myself if you do it. That's basically what he was saying. So watch and see what happens just mean I'm going to defend myself. If a black person was in that jury room and they were saying that, yeah, he said, touch me and watch what happens. I'm like, don't you got a right to, if you told me, if you put your hands on me, I will defend myself. Would you be wrong for saying that to me? Basically warning me, do not put my hands on you. Every person would be right to warn a person, don't touch me. Don't physically accost me. Don't punch me. Don't do nothing to me. Leave me alone. And nobody talks about how Austin Metcalf went over there, took Karmelo Anthony, had nothing to do with him.
Hey, you have every right to tell a person, don't touch me. you don't have a right to kill a person if they touch you. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what math they doing. If I say, well, first of all, you're wrong because you're up under somebody else's tent. But just say you wanted to combat this because you're an idiot and you're a fool and you think you're entitled and you should be able to do whatever you want and nobody have to follow. You ain't got to follow no rules. Everybody else do except you because you just that person. If a person touch you to say, hey, man, you need to move, you don't get to stab them in the heart and kill them. You either move or you throw the hands. If Karmelo Anthony would have fought, he would have still been wrong, but you wouldn't get charged with murder. You would just get charged with assault because you had no business doing what you was doing. But in order to not do 30 plus years in prison, you don't take a knife to a person touching your shoulder or pushing you. Just get up out the tent. All right. I want to play a quick clip because I think a lot of people do not understand. No. We'll get to this clip here in a second. Before we get to the clip, and speaking of verdicts, I want to tell you real quick about the best bourbon on the market. If you're interested, you love bourbon, this is your choice. I'm telling you, look at the reviews. You don't have to look at me, verdictbourbon.com. Best bourbon. The guilty is smooth. It's traditional bourbon. And then you have the not guilty that has brown sugar in it, so it's sweet. You can drink it on the rocks. You can drink it in the old fashioned. Best bourbon on the market. Go look at the reviews if you don't believe me, verdictbourbon.com. All right, let's get to how the jury selection is done. Because I think even I learned something from Sean Kent in this video because I don't know exactly, because I wasn't on that side. I would have to do the research, but I wasn't on the side of doing jury selection, right? I mean, I would just have to testify of my involvement in the case. And when I was an expert witness, I would have to just testify of my expertise in the case. I don't have nothing to do with picking the jurors. So this is Sean Kent, who was the lawyer of Rick Chow. And this is what he had to say just to clarify jury selection, and then we're going to go on from there. Roll it.
I want to take a moment to correct some erroneous on all counts, some erroneous information about the selection of juries in the United States. One, people are incorrectly, this is legal pundits, this is social media, this is so forth, and I like people to understand and have knowledge. The mind grows bigger, the mind grows flowers, much know, because knowledge is power. You are not entitled to a fair jury under the United States Constitution. People keep saying that. You're entitled to a fair jury. You are not. You're entitled to an impartial jury is what the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution. And so when we think about that, people say the following, well, you're entitled to a jury of your peers. Where this comes from is this comes from the Magna Carta, because what used to end up happening was they would bring in, colony and so forth, they'd bring in professional juries, professional jurists who were elitists who would look their nose down at everybody and stand in judgment. And finally, we said, nah, we're not going to do that. We want an impartial jury who is picked from a cross section of the community in which the crime actually occurred. And so when people are out there and saying that you deserve a jury of people who dress like me, walk, talk, and act like me, and just might be the next best thing, but not quite me, you know, those lyrics. That's not it. You're not entitled to a jury of people who look like you. You're entitled to a jury of the community. You're entitled to that, the community. And so people say, what does that mean and how do you challenge that? Hear me. The way you must challenge it, if you want to challenge it, you can't challenge the last 12 people who are in the box. The challenge must come earlier. What ends up happening is well before court happens, the clerk of the jurisdiction will send out notice to a cross section of the community. Let's say she gets 300 people in, and you as an attorney are looking at this and saying, wait a minute, the studies show that this community is 40% African American, 30% Hispanic, 20% white. Yeah, whatever that math is. And when I look at this panel, it's 90% white folks. And so what you have to do is at that point in time, you must make a challenge. You'll probably have to bring in experts. You have to bring in a lot and show this is not a fair cross section of the community. And if you allow this court to pick a jury from this people, you're going to end up with 12 blank, whatever the race may be. That's how you challenge. Challenging after you pick the 12, that's not the cause. That's not it. And one of the reasons why that doesn't help, as anybody's ever watched, is sadly, it almost doesn't matter how angry somebody could literally get on the jury with a swastika and a tattoo that says, "I hate black folks" on the front of their forehead, and the judge says the following: "Sir, do you believe that you can still be fair and impartial?" "Yeah, I can be impartial." They're on. And then that's why we have those what are called peremptory strikes, where the defense attorney can say, "I just want to get rid of that person right there." Now, what the case law, Constitution, Batson versus Illinois, JB versus Kentucky, what they guarantee is not that you get a fair, but that you get an impartial. But it also stands to reason that a prosecutor cannot simply exclude somebody because of their race. Not the panel, the 12 people who are coming up to be chosen. You cannot just exclude people based upon race. What the case law says is you must have a race-neutral reason for why you excluded that person, and you couldn't have put anyone else on who was similarly situated. What does that mean? Somebody comes up, African-American female, the prosecutor says, "Please excuse the jury." At the end of that selection, the defense attorney says, "Your Honor, we have what's called a Batson challenge. We think all they excluded were black people." Judge, prosecutor, why did you excuse that African-American lady? "Your Honor, we excluded every teacher from that jury because we didn't want any teachers." Judge, well, it looks like you excluded every teacher. That's it. If they have a race-neutral reason, "I didn't like his hat, so I excluded him." Make sure you have a facially valid race-neutral reason, and then a lot of times the court will be like, good enough. So do I believe a challenge just based upon the fact that you do not have African Americans on your jury will work on an appellate court? No. And because the other thing you will have to do is you'll have to prove that the 12 people who were selected, who were on the jury, had racial animus. And and that's going to be hard to prove. And you're going to have to prove that they could not be fair and impartial and were not fair and impartial, because guess what? The judge asked them the question, "Can you be fair and impartial?" They said yes. In the federal system, we've talked about this before, in the federal system, and one of the reasons the federal government gets so many more convictions than the state government is they pick their jury from voter registration because they know that's going to be a more conservative group of jurists. And so that's why I tell everybody, go vote so you can be registered to vote. In the state system, they pick you from your DMV driving record, and that way they can get more of a cross section. So sometimes in the jury system, once they have picked it in the federal system and we look down and we're like, this is not a fair cross section, we can go to the federal court and say, "Judge, we are making a request that you pick this jury from the DMV records because we think that will give us a more fair cross-section of the community." So that's what people need to say. So do I think the challenge was laid down properly? No. If you look at the Alec Murdaugh case, people remember that case. You look at those lawyers, they're good lawyers, Maggie Fox, Dick Harpootlian, Jim Griffin. They looked at this case and they went back and interviewed the jurors, and they saw the level of bias that these jurors have. So that's how they were able to cross that Rubicon to say that this was not a impartial jury because they were tainted by old Becky Hill. So in the Karmelo Anthony trial and
let him finish.
Some of the other, just saying that you have 12 folks who do not dress like me, walk, talk, act like me, and just might be the next best thing, that's not enough. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that.
Perfect. So I was going to only play a little small portion of that, but it was very contextually reasonable to listen through and thoroughly hear what he had to say. He's one of my favorite defense attorneys now. I thought he did an incredible job, very smart, very funny. I love this guy. We may put his link in the description section. You go follow him because I think he's very informative. This leads me to the rest of this that I'm going to do, because from the things that I've researched, and Grant, correct me if I'm wrong, it appears that it wasn't an all-white jury. Now, the dad is going to say on this camera, in this interview with CBS, that it was an all-white jury. From things that I've seen from family members that were also in the court, they said that it wasn't all white. It was white, Asian, and a Middle Eastern woman. And so that's not all white. So why are they pushing a narrative that it's an all-white jury? And then the witnesses, a lot of them were black, who testified to the fact that Karmelo was wrong. Grant, you got anything to add to that, or am I accurate?
You are accurate, yeah. Hold on a second. No black jurors. The defense, give me a second here. I'm looking for a race breakdown. I think you had it pretty appropriate.
All right.
Yeah.
While he looked for that, let's go to this first clip of Dad. and what he had to say. Roll it.
Take us inside that courtroom. What stuck out to you?
What stuck out to me, number one, was the all-white jury. But I was trying to be, all right, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, the truth is on our side.
Witnesses who took an oath vowing to tell the truth.
Everyone actually lied on the stand.
Everyone.
All of the witnesses' statements were inconsistent. All of them.
His father says the court of public opinion had made up their mind about his son long before the trial began.
He was convicted when he walked out of the jail. If you looked at the news all last year, he was already convicted. If you look at it, it was already done. It was no innocent until proven guilty. He was already guilty.
Now, is it possible? Yes. Is it plausible? No. That everybody lied? And so a judge is watching. The jurors don't have complete jurisdiction over these things. If the judge feels that the verdict is somehow incorrect, and I got to look into this because I'm not really sure. I don't want to say something I don't. But I believe that the judge, if he feel like that the verdict is incorrect or is somehow faulty, or that the jurors weren't consistent with the jury instructions and different things that he gave them to contest with, I think he can make a challenge to that. If the jurors get out there and they go, hey, we're going to give him 99 years, and a judge do not think that that was reasonable, I think a judge can then challenge that. Maybe I'm corrected if we got judges that are in the thing. We got a super chat. I'm going to get to your super chat here in a second. But if the judge believes that it's somehow something wrong with the jurors' sentencing, I think a judge can challenge that. I don't think that a judge is just helpless sitting in the courtroom doing nothing. I think the judge has a judgment to make, and if they feel like that the verdict was granted based upon the jury instructions in there and it was reasonable, I think a judge could go through it and say, that this is what the jurors found and there's nothing to it. I could be wrong about that, so we'll fact check that here in a second. But here's another clip of these foolish Neanderthals. I call them Neanderthals. I almost said the N-word. Y'all better watch out. All right, here is the stupidest comedian to ever live and the weirdest black man to ever live, both of them on the same podcast. Listen to what D.L. Hughley said.
Well, they're saying that they struck the 3 black jurors. On purpose. I have 2 attorneys coming up that are going to talk about that. But yeah, it was an all-white jury. And again, death is tragic, as you said. Sure. And nobody's wishing anything upon, anything bad upon the family of sadly, the young man who died. But you have kids. You 17-year-olds make horrible decisions. Right. I'm not saying that they should not be held accountable in some way for what they do, but a 17-year-old in 35 years, it just doesn't sit right with me.
We got another clip coming up. Who's to say 35 years to a 17-year-old is excessive when you murdered somebody? Because Austin Metcalf got life. His life is gone. He will never come back. So what is a fair, balanced thing when you take a person's life? To be quite honest, you deserve to get your life taken, meaning that you should spend the rest of your life in prison because you took his life. You took his whole life. You didn't injure him. You didn't just maim him. You didn't cripple him. You killed him. He died. He's never coming back. And you say 35 years is that's subjective. If somebody killed your kid, how many years you think they should get? Murder the rest of their life. I think these people wouldn't be so compassionate if it was their kid. All right, come on with it. Let's play another D.L. Hughley clip, and this is the worst one of all the clips that I've heard thus far. Roll the clip.
Listen, if you asking me, I don't think that all white people should be able to do anything in secret at all. I don't think they should have. I don't think they should be able to have drapes or curtains. Everything should be clear, because anytime, let me tell you something. When it's all white people in secret, it's bad for everybody. I think that striking those jurists that were black was for a reason.
This is how ignorant and stupid this is, real quick, and then we're gonna get to the super chat, and then also a couple meltdowns. To allude to the fact that every white person is a bad person is crazy to me. To believe that every black person that was selected would have been perfect is also crazy. So you're telling me that every black person is the same? And these people talk out of both sides of their head, and it's stupid both ways. Because they did have black people who were eyewitnesses who said Karmelo was wrong. And somehow you erase that from reality and say if there were black people on the jurors, or as jurors, that they would have all said something completely opposite. I would argue the witnesses said it. I think black people should be reasonable human beings. They would also have found the same thing that white people found because they're operational, functional brains. But what we have found is that a lot of black people, according to some of the statements that these black people are saying, they'll get on the jury and try to get the boy off. That's the reason why they will get on the thing. All right, let's get to the super chat real quick, and then we're going to go to his attorney friend or something like that. I don't know, the idiot that they hired messed their whole case up, to be honest. Super chat, I think it's Ellie or Ella. How you say that? Ellie? Lea 90. It says, black teacher here. These grifters would argue with the stop sign. Karmelo was wrong. My black students were just as entitled as he was. God dang. You know, let me say something real quick. We got a couple super chats. Let me say something just real quick. My stepmother was in education for, 30 years in all black community, inner city kids. She dedicated her life to supporting all that comes with that. And I've heard stories, and not necessarily from, her many of the kids that she had done, that helped and was teaching, that were in middle school. But let me not put words in her mouth and say nothing because I don't want to get her in trouble. But when people say that the community has a big problem, it's real. Some of these kids' parents don't love them enough to teach them nothing. Because money ain't got nothing to do with you acting right. You can be hungry and still teach your kid right from wrong. And it has gotten worse. Let me give y'all an example. I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. Anybody that live in Fort Worth know what I'm talking about. I grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. Way back when I was young, Crowley ISD was very young. The community called Crowley was an up-and-coming middle-class community, at least where we lived at. And Crowley High School, North Crowley High School, was a very brand new high school. I think it had been only open 4 years. When me and my brother lived with my dad, we were going to that school. I saw firsthand, they brought the projects in across the railroad tracks. That place went from a middle-class neighborhood where you walk your dogs and it's all peaceful and it's a mixture of black, mostly white people, to hood. School cutting up. That school used to be after school program. You go do the after school program. They teach you, they get your homework done. It was all safe, no real fights and stuff at the school. It's crazy. I heard North Crowley crazy. Teachers crazy. And football good though. They won a state championship. Basketball good. Sports good. But the community then went down. And y'all still out here acting like nothing is wrong. Okay, super chat from Dolores. Howdy from Mr. Metcalf. I said howdy for, what is that? Oh, hooray for Mr. Metcalf. He has gone through so much, and I don't disagree. I'd be mad as he was. All right, let's get to his lawyer who's silly, or not lawyer, but it's a family advocate who's silly. Roll the clip.
when you see me escort Carmelo Anthony out there against security advice or whatever it may be, it's because Carmelo is all of our babies. You know, Nick, I had to leave yesterday because.
All right, let's get to the next clip. He ain't my baby. I get it, but he ain't my baby. I'll sum this up for you. The NAACP and these stew heads are all making a fuss about this thing, and they had all this crazy stuff to say. Let's get to the next clip. Larry Reed is a guy that I liked. I used to like his gossip. Listen to this fool. Listen to Larry Reed. Roll the clip.
And I want you to begin to think about this America and the white people problem that we have. I'm going to make a statement. We know that Martin Luther King, the beginning of his work was all about integration. We do know that later on that did change. Integration has had great benefits. I think now, unless you must stay in America, unless you are supposed to be in the USA. Otherwise, if you're Black, integration has had great benefits. I'm telling you, and I'm saying this as a collective, let's drain this place of its benefits and make our mass exodus
to where?
And go home and build.
Where is home?
I repeat, integration has had great benefits, Black people. For some of us. Let's drain this place of its benefits and make our mass exodus and go home and build. See, civil rights did not make white people that are infected with whiteness stop being racist. They still raised racist children that run this country to this day. The Civil Rights Act just made social discrimination federally illegal in key areas of American life, housing, voting, and such. It changed what was lawful.
All right, I can't listen to it. He goes on to tell Black people to go home, wherever that's at. Going home with me going down the street. Africa, what continent, what country in Africa are you from? Many of y'all claim they can't even get a driver's license. How you gonna go find out what country you from? Also, the draining of racism is still exists. The draining of resources. Black people ain't. Don't listen to that fool. Because people think, oh, Black people, we're gonna take our benefits and go to another country. Well, you know, Black people add a lot of negative stuff to this country too. And to be honest, we have the most shootings and the most gun violence in the world per capita because of inner city communities. It ain't because of white people shooting each other. It's because inner city communities like Chicago, you got in the hood in Watts and in Maryland and all the ghettos around the country. If you just eliminated the hood ratchetness and gun violence from gangs, our country wouldn't even be a top country with shootings. The gun problem is a Black problem, a Black inner city problem. Okay. I could go on more and more and more. Y'all got to stop. Listen, heck, I'm running out of time. Y'all got to stop listening to these ignorant Black folks. We should all get along as Americans. Stop trying to polarize when you have nothing to benefit from. You have nothing on your side. If you want to make it about Black and white, Black people lose 100% of the time. If you want to go off and say, okay, black people, take everything that all the value you added to America and go leave somewhere else. There will be some losses in America, but I don't think it'll crumble and fall. Now go tell white people, white folks, take everything you invented and done in this country, you take it and go to another country. The country would fall. We would have no country. The Constitution of the United States of America was white people. The rights for black people to have citizenship was white people. And you name it, white people came up with this stuff. That's why you see no African nation, no black nation, continent, country that's more prosperous than the one started by white people. And I'm not making it about race. If y'all want to make race, then let's keep it real. Tell white people to take the iPhone. Tell white people to take Starlink, internet. Every outfit you got on, tell them they take it all away. All y'all wearing Louis Vuitton, there ain't no Louis Vuitton. Built, gone. Warehousing, gone. Distribution centers, gone. Amazon, gone. Uber, gone. S&P 500, gone. You know what I'm saying? What are y'all saying? Y'all own like 3 major companies. So use your brainstem and say, we don't need to do that. We need to work together as a country, as a people, and leave that stupid color stuff out of it. This is just external skin. This has nothing to do with who you are inside. All right, I want to show this one picture that's crazy to me, and this is another thing. Look at what a lot of black people are sharing online. Imagine if white people shared this about George Floyd, or all these other kids, or people who have been killed. What if police officers did this on one of these graves, one of these idiots that got killed by the police, and they were wrong? Let me say this real quick in my last 2 minutes. I really want to get to Spencer Pratt. Maybe we'll do a separate video. I got to get a haircut because I'm going to 250 and I can't look crazy. All right. But let me just put this in perspective. Somebody wrote me a message and said, Brandon, man, you like, it's just not fair. He got 35 years and like Amber Geiger only got 10 years and she killed Botham Jean and all these other stuff. Here's the craziest one. What's his name? Kyle Rittenhouse, he killed 3 people and he got... Let's put this in perspective. Amber Geiger, the cop that accidentally, off duty, accidentally went into somebody's house and ended up shooting and killing them. At the trial, the family's impact statement was for forgiveness. The family forgave Amber Geiger. The family showed compassion. The brother went up and hugged Amber Geiger, hugged her, said, I forgive you. And that's why the jurors had more sympathy on the sentencing, because the family came out and forgave her. And then you go to Kyle Rittenhouse. You are a stewhead if you think Kyle Rittenhouse in this situation is consistent. Kyle Rittenhouse was minding his business, standing in front of a gas station to protect the gas station from looters and people who were stupid. And what happened? He got attacked. He's just standing there. Guy runs after him, try to take his gun away. Bow, took a loss. Then he's trying to run away from everybody because they're attacking him. A guy comes and try to hit him with a skateboard. He falls to the ground. The guy tries to hit him in the head. That is a use of a deadly weapon against him. Boom, that dude took a shot to the chest. And then another guy pulled a gun on him. Pulled the gun out. Got his bicep blown off. That is called self-defense. He was running away from people attacking him, and they were trying to kill him. And he defended himself. He should have never even been arrested. And some of y'all idiots think he was killing black people, that he killed black people. He shot nothing but white people out there. Self-defense. When people try to kill you with deadly weapons, you can defend yourself as you're running away from them. Okay. Last super chat, and I got to get up out here. I got to get my haircut. What's the two things that we had left on the docket? Yeah, we could probably try to cut videos for those later. I'll talk about it. Maybe we'll do it post-show clarity or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. So let me get to the super chat real quick. Super chat, Viv. It says zero accountability. Zero accountability looks like anger, entitlement. Truth is, always questioned, and we still don't know Karmelo's motives because he didn't take the stand. Now, I have to say this. I may be running out of time. Karmelo, oh man, it's at 3, right? I got my haircut at 3? All right, I got to get up out of here. I'm 15 minutes past my haircut time. So Karmelo not taking a stand. Listen, Karmelo killed that boy. But Karmelo not taking a stand and explaining why he did what he did and showing any remorse and emotions, that probably led to him getting found guilty of murder and there not be a holdout about manslaughter, which the judge gave jury instructions for them to be able to do manslaughter if they felt it was necessary. But the boy never took the stand. And you know why? I think because he wasn't who you think he was. I don't think Karmelo was a good kid. I don't think Karmelo was doing the right thing. I think Karmelo had every intention to be racist and stab that boy in his chest and kill him because he felt entitled. That's why they wouldn't put him on a stand, because he would get cross-examined and it would get exposed and they would give him more than 30 years if they knew who he really was. Okay. All right. See y'all later, man. I love y'all. Check me out at the UFC 250. We finna have a good time. I'm gonna say what's up to Trump for y'all. And we gonna do it big. And for all you weirdos on The View, real quick before I get my haircut, shut the front door, because UFC on the White House lawn is the most patriotic thing I ever seen in my life. 250, Donald Trump's birthday. This is what America's all about. Y'all got transgenders on putting their boobs out and doing all that gay weird stuff at the White House. It's time for us to do some real stuff at the White House. Real men, America 250. Get out my face with that crap. I'm out of here.